That's former Director of National Intelligence James Clapper denying that the Obama administration wiretapped Donald Trump for his campaign before the election. Back in 2013, Clapper actually misled Congress about surveilling millions of Americans, even though he got that question in advance about that issue from Senator Ron Wyden. Listen.
Does the NSA collect any type of data at all on millions or hundreds of millions of Americans?
No, sir.
It does not.
Not wittingly. There are cases where they could inadvertently, perhaps, collect, but not wittingly.
James Clapper later admitted that, yes, the NSA, in fact, does collect data on Americans on their phones, possibly emails. In fact, the NSA can track our phones right now, according to Judge Napolitano. Let's bring in the attorney who won one of the most, if not the most important lawsuits against NSA data collection. He's Freedom Watch founder Larry Klayman. Judge, what do you make of what James Clapper is now saying?
Well, what he's saying is obviously false. You know, that was under oath. If it had been you or me, Liz, we would have been, at a minimum, indicted for perjury. And the very fact that he was head of the intelligence community, director of national intelligence, illegally surveying millions of Americans would get you in jail probably for the rest of your life. So he's not to be believed. And if you look at his demeanor yesterday when he was on television and being interviewed, he's looking down. He's not looking at the camera. I mean, the guy was, his eyes were shifting faster than Howdy Doody. But the real issue here is the fact that it's been, in fact, shown that the NSA and the CIA have done mass surveillance against individuals. It's also been shown that there were FISA warrants presented to the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Court. They did concern President Trump and his then staff that was trying to be elected president and thereafter. They got into General Flynn's communications, forcing him to resign, and it's a shame that he had to. He shouldn't have had to resign. I think the president made a mistake on that, and perhaps he'll come back later. But the reality here is that this has been going on. It's extremely credible, and there's no doubt that President Trump has been wiretapped. If everything that came out, even just a portion of it, is true, it would confirm that he's been wiretapped.
Larry, I'm so sorry. I called you Judge. I was referring to Judge Napolitano. Judge Napolitano...
I'm flattered.
But you did win that lawsuit. That was really important. Judge Napolitano says the NSA tracks our phones right now. You say that there's no doubt that the NSA or the Obama administration wiretapped the Trump campaign and Donald Trump himself. Why do you say there's no doubt?
Because we know what happened to General Flynn. Okay, those were intercepted communications. We know that there were FISA warrants presented to the secret court that apparently were granted. We know that the intelligence agencies, and I have a client we talked about last time I was on, Dennis Montgomery, a whistleblower who has more information than Edward Snowden, came forward to the FBI. They've been investigating, but they buried it now for 2 years. 47 hard drives, 600 million pages of information. Some of it classified. I've never seen it. The FBI has it. Montgomery testified under oath. He was videotaped. He has a brain aneurysm, so we preserve the evidence. Director Comey has this information, and what they were doing was mass surveillance, not just of hundreds of millions of Americans, but the Supreme Court Chief Justice, John Roberts, other justices like Ginsburg, 156 judges. President Trump, before he became president, as a businessman, was surveyed, and I was even surveyed in 2007. They got my banking records down in Miami. So we know that this course of conduct has occurred, and there can be no doubt, given everything we've seen in the last few weeks that's been happening with the Trump administration.
You know, Larry, WikiLeaks claims that the NSA under Obama wiretapped and spied on more than a dozen people, including world leaders like Germany's Angela Merkel, France's Sarkozy, Italy's Berlusconi, Israel's Netanyahu. Top EU economic officials apparently spied on by the Obama administration, including journalists like Fox News' James Rosen and the Associated Press. What are your thoughts?
It's just part of a pattern of conduct. Now, I've asked the judge to move forward in our case to trial. We got preliminary injunctions. We did win on the major issue of whether this was a constitutional violation of the Fourth Amendment. Now we want a trial. And I want to bring this stuff forward to Judge Richard Leon, who's a very fine judge in Washington, D.C. in federal court, and we're asking for an emergency hearing. This judge has the ability, in camera, to confirm what President Trump has said. He's got a security clearance. So I'm confident that this judge will take this issue up. We can't trust Congress. They've done nothing before. What did they do when Clapper lied? Nothing. This has to be handled by a court, and it has to be handled by the court in the cases that we brought. Larry
Klayman, always great and terrific to have you on the show. Please come back soon. We love having you on,
Mutually.
Larry. Sure.